Hello everyone, so nice to be able to talk to you. You know, I'm in Cairo, Egypt, and actually I'm standing on the banks of the incredible Nile River. Right over my shoulder here you can see the Nile. It's an amazing river, the longest river in the world, and you'll remember how even David Livingstone back way then went to try and find the source of the Nile. This river has got such a history, and it played such an important part way back in the beginning. And when you go back into the book of Genesis, you begin to read and to understand the importance of the Nile River and its fertility and what it brought, the life that it brought way back into the land of the Pharaohs, time of Abraham and the time of Joseph, and one could go on and on. The interesting thing about the Nile River is that it has provided so much for the Egyptian people. But God's word prophesies that the time would come that the Nile River would become so problematic and it would literally dry up and become impacted for generations, literally for hundreds of years. Hundreds of millions of rich soil would be brought down the Nile River and would feed into the arteries across certain parts, particularly in the land of Goshen, up toward the Mediterranean, and would provide great fertility for the land so that the people could grow crops, etc., etc., etc. And we read about these things even in the time of Joseph. Remember how that Pharaoh gave to his family all the land in Goshen, the most fertile land in Egypt. But the prophecy of Isaiah from verse chapter 19 through about chapter 22 talks about the Nile River, and that the day would come that it would literally dry up and that it would become problematic. Interestingly enough, in 1971, the Egyptian government made the decision to build the Aswan Dam, and you probably know all about it, and it became a real problem. It feeds into the Nasser Lake, which is a beautiful lake, but the winds that blow across that lake have caused major problems to the point at which the Nasser Lake will never rise up to its full potential. Not only that, but the mouth and the outlets related to the lake have become heavily silted. It has caused problems. It has produced all kinds of bacterial infection that has infected many of the population. Statistics I've read, 1 in 5 of Egyptians who live along the shores of the Nile in some of the regions are infected by these bacteria. But here's what's important. This river, of course, flows from south to north, unlike in the United States of America. It flows out of the Mediterranean Sea in the northern part, north of where I'm standing here. And we know that what has happened there in the entrance of the Nile River is that the salt has infiltrated down, has come down into the Nile, has gone into the estuaries and the canals, has literally dried them up, and has caused major pollution in the Nile River. The prophecy of God has already come true concerning end times and God's plan for the ages, even concerning this Nile River. Now, where I'm standing here in Cairo and in these upper regions, it's still a magnificent looking river, but it's very polluted. And when you drive down into Memphis and into some of the regions, even right around the precincts of Cairo, you can't imagine the pollution of the Nile River and its arteries. God is in control of these things. So it's very exciting here to be standing in this place where the Bible tells us so much about the riches of God's grace and the way in which God provided for us and what He did during the ages through great servants of the Lord like Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and how grateful we can be. I just wanted to share that with you for a minute today. I want you to know that I love you and I pray for you, and you can have every confidence in God's encouraging word because God is in control.